That was going on while I was kind of like, I'm just not happy with what I'm doing, like fabricating stories. We're just making stuff up. Right, like we contemplated taking one of our partners' mothers who has been healthy her entire life and turning her into some like obese heart disease person for a sales letter. It's like when I sold cars, yeah, we might have been a little aggressive, but we weren't but there was plenty of times we weren't outright lying. Like I started noticing like outside of this world, there was a lot of more honesty that was working just fine. Granted, the money might not come in as fast or as big, but it is still there. It can. So I was in direct marketing the response copywriter for about 10 years, or just about close to 10 years. And that's when I had no idea what copywriting was. The owner at the time said like, you're weird, like you have you're disciplined, like socially aware, and you have a background in sales, and you're a little bit weird. So you're gonna make a really good copywriter.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Big Ticket Titans. My name is Anand.
Big Ticket Titans, woo! Sorry, say that again, I stepped on it.
No worries. So yeah, my name is Anand. I run a video marketing agency called VidGrowth, and I got my co-host over here, Amish Patel.
What's up? Amish Patel is here, learning the sales game from the comedy angle, which I think is which is actually very ethical compared to what I've been seeing. I think we have I feel good about myself. I feel good like, hey, I could just help someone because there's a lot of sharks in the business, and yeah. But thanks for bringing me on, dude. And we have a great guest today, actually. It's a copywriter extraordinaire. Anand, you want to introduce?
Yeah, so today I want to introduce Jim Clair. I found him through Coffeezilla. Like both of us are connected to Coffeezilla. So
Right.
that's something we have in common. I think all three of us have been on Coffeezilla on YouTube. But
The sheriff connects us all.
exactly. So big shout out to Steven for connecting us. Jim, I saw your episode and I was like, wow, I gotta get in touch with this guy. So started reading your website. It's amazing. I read all your articles and I signed up for your newsletter, and that's how we got connected. So welcome, Jim, to our podcast. Let people know, like, give us the elevator pitch.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here. I gotta give some thanks to Steven, the Coffeezilla. He's brought a lot of great connections and great people my way. And I'm thrilled to be on here. And my elevator pitch. So I guess where the place to start would be, so I was in direct marketing the response copywriter for about 10 years, or just about close to 10 years. And I started off, I was previously in the car business, just about any sort of vision you could, or any sort of position you can imagine on the sales side, I did it. And then, so I had no idea what copywriting was when I first got into copywriting. It was with a Dow of Badass, it was about 2010 or so. And that was right kind of at very much the height of game. So Dow of Badass was a seduction product. And that's when I had no idea what copywriting was. The owner at the time said like, you're weird, like you have you're disciplined, and you're socially aware, and you have a background in sales, and you're a little bit weird, so you're gonna make a really good copywriter. And I was like, I don't know, like I don't want to sit and like write legal stuff. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, like copywriting.
Wow.
And even when I applied, they had me write like a sales letter. Like, can you sell us this? And I had no idea that I was doing copywriting. So I just threw all my sales knowledge from the car business in it. And then I went from there. Dow of Badass was like a very dysfunctional band. It was they had a huge hit on ClickBank. And then from there, the offer was a goldfish. Hi, my name is Josh, and this is a goldfish, and this goldfish will get you laid. I did not write that. It was actually primarily John Benson who wrote that.
Does he sell the goldfish, or does he sell a product?
No, the whole concept is it's called a patent. So those were really hit. It was a patent interrupt video sales letter. We can get into
right.
that. Yeah,
Classic pattern
really
interrupt.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I was there, and then they started falling apart. Ty Lopez actually ended up buying it. I left when he came on board. I wasn't a big fan of Ty. So I went to a company called Digital Health Solutions, and they had a lot of offers called Venus Factor, Adonis Factor, and kind of the one I was real closely associated with. Well, I was closely associated with all of them, but Yoga Burn is kind of where I
Yoga Burn.
Yeah, it was a Yoga Burn. It was like the first real targeted to female weight loss with yoga.
Oh, tight. That must have killed.
So,
that's a great bird. That's a great name.
Yeah, surprisingly, no one had really done it before, and we kind of came up with the idea. The big monster or the big beast behind Digital Health Solutions is a guy named Kyle Leon. I mean, he's a unique guy. He's an incredible marketer. He can be very angry at times, but there's no doubt he's brilliant at times. And so his girlfriend at the time was she taught yoga, was kind of looking for something to do. Then we kind of had the idea of what about like targeting kind of like more Midwestern women who are scared to walk into a yoga studio.
Wow.
And that was it. And it was kind of the idea, because I remember like the girl I was dating at the time, like she's a very sweet girl, but it was kind of like you walk into a yoga studio and you have some, 26-year-old girl who's completely fit, like with lycra, with like a paint-on lycra, like, I have body image issues, and I had popcorn and felt so bloated in my thong this weekend. It was and like so. They're talking about this, and there's a regular woman who's maybe like 55, a little bit overweight, just wants to exercise. Wow. And here's this woman talking about like her bloated butt. And
wow, that girl is like the female equivalent of like a 6'4" jacked, like slams the weights. Like that's like the female equivalent. It's like this guy makes everyone feel uncomfortable, and she makes her people feel uncomfortable, I guess.
Right. So it was like, like these, so we kind of had the idea, like these women, like they walk in, and actually I got the idea, or a lot of the idea was when I like kind of trolled yoga classes. And I felt bad because I would see like women immediately be really intimidated by, this 26-year-old who's like, maybe do, that's, it's unfortunate you have body image issues if that's the case, but it's such a disconnect compared to this.
Hey, you have a solution. You have an alternative.
Right.
Dude, so women won't go to the gym.
From there,
I remember they made separate gyms even, like for women. Remember that? Like, I don't know. I don't see it anymore, but they used to have separate. Like, they used to have like, this is women's only side. And it's like.
Yeah, like, what was it? Like curves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think it was because so much of, I think a lot of people think it was because of creepy guys. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just, there's an intimidation factor.
Right.
It's very Sharia too. Because I remember in university, they had a Sharia time and then they had women's time. And so they had two. They had like a Muslim women's time where they put blinds up, and then they had another women's time, and then they had everyone open full time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
It's a thing. People feel uncomfortable. People are ashamed, body image issues. Like it's crazy how like just a bunch of people messing up their kids creates $1 billion industry.
Yeah,
because now you guys will have to fix them or something, Well,
also, I think that's how Planet Fitness became popular, because they were like no judgment zone, right? Now, I mean, there's no free weight. I mean, there's free weights there, but there's no squat rack, I think.
No squat racks. Yeah, that sucks, dude. It's $10 a month, but you're like, okay, no squat rack, leave it then.
I mean,
this is definitely a side tangent, but so I used to work out at a gym here called Armbrust Pro Gym, and it's a famous bodybuilding gym. And there's a ton of professional men and women bodybuilders. So there's a ton of like professional bikini models, and there's surprising. Now, in walking in, even if you're like a jacked Chad, like walking into this gym, you're like, okay, I'm really not that jacked Chad. Like,
okay, yeah.
What's amazing is even though there's skin everywhere, there's guys and girls. There's just like you get really used to it. It's amazing how like the lack of judgment that was in there from these people. It was kind of shocking, like because I worked out when I lived in an area called Cherry Creek in Denver. I worked out at this gym called True Fitness, and like the women and the guys in there were like smugly judging.
Yeah.
And they were like in shape people, but then you go see the professionals,
Right.
who are almost like wearing next to nothing. But it was crazy, like how helpful they were to everyone else. Like there was zero judgment.
It sounds like club culture. It sounds like Patrick Bet-David's like early stories of selling gym memberships at Bally's, and it's like aggressive club culture at the gym. It's like now we have new styles or whatever, but it seems like that's like one type of gym, and then people have to undo that so that everyone else wants to come because people just get scared to go, I guess, eh?
Yeah, it's something. I think it's just because they're working so much, like they're dialing so much in on their bodies. So it's like, in a kind of way, it's like going to a European beach. It kind of takes away like, oh my God, nudity. Kind of like removes that. But I think it's just because a lot of people there are just so focused on their goals that they're always so supportive of someone else, no matter kind of where they're starting. That's not like every single person, but it's kind of like when you see someone who would naturally be really intimidated walking in there, getting help from like, someone who just placed like 4th at the Miss Olympia, bikini, it's kind of like, oh, like you're not judging me. It's like, no, I'm not. Like,
that's nice.
So it's definitely an odd. It is a cliquey place, but it is kind of odd. How you kind of almost expect like incredible judgment from people.
I think the owner makes the culture. I think the owner makes the culture.
So. And he is a good owner. His name's Dylan Armbus. He's a pretty good owner up there.
Yeah. I've been actually checking out a lot of sales courses. I call them sales church actually, and a lot of them are made by people who did fitness programs. And it's like very motivational and very like philosophical. They talk about this is what the meaning of life is. It goes to that level of like, that's what I mean when I say sales training. Sometimes it feels like in cult training are the same. It's like they're using kind of the same guidelines.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of guys who do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like some people teach that, and then I guess there's different markets. Like it's like the top guru basically has to teach everyone like, okay, this is how we're gonna go. This is who we're going for, and they even teach you early on like who is your market, what is the promise you can make them, and then in the same line you take away all their pain. Like this guy's teaching, if you want to make a product for someone, nobody wants to hear that they'll lose weight in 6 months, diet, exercise. They want to hear like 40 pounds, end of the week, no work. That's it. Like, and he teaches you to write that. Like he teaches the whole program to write that. Where I guess that was like our next question too for you. Is like, where's the line for you of between ethical and like,
or persuasion versus manipulation as well.
Yeah. Well, to finish it, I guess that was quite a tangent. To finish it, to come off. So I think towards the end of what I was doing, I started seeing. It was kind of there was a culmination of things because I was really deep inside of this world. So being with a top offer like Venus Factor, and you're suddenly really behind the scenes of this world. And I was pretty driven in learning, and I even got caught up in it myself. Like the final year, I was really in it. I'm not sure if I'm out. I mean, in a way, I'm out of it. I'm exposing a lot of stuff, but. I know I spent $400,000 inside of a year on this stuff, and it was embarrassing. I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm in a mastermind. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, you're an idiot. I'm sitting here learning about goals from some you don't know what you're talking about. All you're doing is repeating Augmentina. Right. And then I'm like, but I kept thinking like I had to invest in myself.
Invest.
Yeah. And then I'm like, why am I investing with people who I know are idiots? So it was like this, it was quite a wake up call. But so that was like the final point. But up in that point, I was starting to feel really uncomfortable with a business model. And the first thing was the affiliate marketing. So I was like, this is really dumb. Like, it's so short term. Like you're just sending people off to competitors. It's like I think I said this in Coffeezilla, like if you buy a car from the Toyota dealership, then I'm like, hang on a second, since you bought from us, we're gonna have you buy from the Chevy store across the street. That's like, what? So, and I started seeing in the long term, I started seeing a lot of businesses like self-destruct, like Dow Badass completely self-destructed, and it was hailed as the right way to do things. And then I started noticing like someone like Mark Manson, when I first started out, he was scoffed at like, oh, he's not doing big sales letters. He's doing it the wrong way. And I was like, hey, he's not going to make any real money. Well, now look at him. He is still like chugging along just fine. And these guys are just completely gone.
He went ethical. He went ethical. He
stayed there. So I think for me, it was my own curiosity. Like the biggest thing is kind of the way I did it. So there was a book called, or Brilliant, not Brilliance. Well, that was, but Eugene Schwartz wrote Breakthrough Advertising and Brilliance Breakthrough. And these books are hailed as like the direct marketing, like the holy grail of direct marketing, right?
The big gurus, the great gurus of marketing.
So I had a copy exercise where I hand copied great ads, and I hand copied all of Brilliance Breakthrough, which is like the way to write copy.
Wow.
And my sales started to suffer, and I got a lot of complaints. So from that, I started researching into, I went back to David Ogilvy and Claude Hopkins, but I started researching into what happened to Eugene Schwartz's ads and Gary Halbert's ads. What happened to these people? And then I started kind of like a madman, started researching what happened to other people. And then I was really, and that was going on while I was kind of like, I'm just not happy with what I'm doing, like fabricating stories or just making stuff up.
That's like what they teach.
Right, like we contemplated taking one of our partners' mothers who has been healthy her entire life and turning her into some like obese heart disease person for a sales letter. He's thankfully he said no.
On Photoshop or in real life?
We're just gonna make up the mother.
Okay, yeah.
And thankfully he said he said no. But you're like, I was so caught up and I was kind of like, I just don't like this. Like there's something so wrong with this. Like when I sold cars, we might have been a little aggressive, but we weren't but there was plenty of times we weren't outright lying like this.
Yeah.
So I kind of, and I started noticing, even though I was writing like Google compliant offers, like I started noticing like outside of this world, there's a lot of more honesty that was working just fine. And, granted the money might not come in as fast or as big, but it is still there. It can, like,
It's more, isn't it? Like sometimes
in the long run, yes. I don't have like
so hard. Yeah.
Right. Like I don't have statistical data, but I imagine in the long run, there's much more money. Like Mark Manson, I mean, obviously he had a best-selling book, but Mark Manson, James Clear, as far as like info products, like the company Onnit, the supplement company certainly has some issues, and I think there's some gray area there. But I don't think on the whole they're like, you're gonna zap off 70 pounds without lifting a finger.
Joe Rogan's. This is Joe Rogan's company, Onnit.
Right.
Or you don't think the mushroom pills are real? Super brains?
Yeah. So I think, the claims might be stretched, but it's not to the point where it's like hidden in an African valley was this weird weight loss cure. Like, okay, guys,
Look, okay.
So I started getting really uncomfortable with that stuff.
Right. Okay.
And I found out you don't have to sell this way. And going back to the history, like if you look at David Ogilvy or Claude Hopkins, you'd be hard pressed to not find something in your home today that they helped launch. Yeah. And even like Billy Mays. Like Billy Mays was a crazy pitch man, but OxyClean, we still use it.
Wow, true. He got it in. You can upgrade from an infomercial level to like, oh, now he's at Walmart. Billy Mays products to Walmart. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the pitch was crazy, but they always try to make those infomercials look a little bit better.
Yeah.
But on the whole, the product still works.
It did. You know who never made it though? Slap Chop. It's too much. That guy.
I thought Slap Chop
didn't make it. I don't think they're in Walmart. ShamWow didn't make it. I don't think.
Yeah, ShamWow. I think he did a little bit of time.
Yeah, that guy was shady. It is so weird. The business is all mixed up like that. But go on.
Right, but so I know it's a long way of doing it, but there is an ethical way to write, forthright copy, and I mean, there's plenty of it out there. The companies like Tuft and Needle today, like it's not direct marketing per se, but everything is very on the nose.
What's the company called?
And then, Tuft and Needle. It's a mattress company. So they disrupted like the mattress company.
I feel like there's been 3 mattress company disruptors now. There's Tuft and Needle, there's ND, and then there's this like Canadian one that's crazy too. But they all seem like they're killing it. Like they have great ads, you know?
Yeah, I know one of them will get. I don't know. I don't think it was one of the ones in the end. One of them got in a little bit of heat because they called themselves like a tech company.
they all go for that vibe. They go for vibe. Like,
right, but Tuft and Needle, I think Serta, they partnered with Serta in the end. But they came out of nowhere. Like, so I noticed there's plenty of companies and there's plenty of personalities. Like there's a lot of SaaS companies who do like direct marketing and they're not going completely scammy. I think there's plenty
Becker,
of like,
Becker seems nice. I don't know how you feel about Alex Becker, but seems like he's cool. His heroes.
I'm not too familiar.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, but he's
I know that was
a
oh, cool. Yes, I know that was a big tangent on my end there. So, but their ethical copy can exist.
Right. So let me ask you then, like, I mean, we as an agency, we've been doing mostly content marketing through video, like whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We help our clients create videos, and then Amish is helping me write ads. But then when we look at some of these ad formulas that are on the internet right now, they're all like direct response kind of ads. The typical guru ads that you see before each video, and sending them to a landing page. Whereas what we're trying to do is we want to use like Amish's comedy writing experience, and we're trying to think bigger. We're thinking think of like Dollar Shave Club, think of Squatty Potty, or all these funny Old Spice, all these funny viral ads, and that's what we're going after. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about like how we can be successful in terms of, it's not gonna be a direct response ad, it's not gonna be, maybe they won't buy anything today, but it's still gonna make you almost a household name and make it go viral that way.
Right. Well, it's so on one end, to go viral, it's tough. Obviously, there's a little bit of luck involved with that. I mean, there is obviously probably things that kind of can work a little bit better.
Yeah.
You can never quite tell what's going to hit. Like the what was it? The Chia Pet thing. Like no one knew that thing.
No one knows. It's like when my family, they're like, Amish, make a hit, and I'm like, listen, we're trying. We're all trying.
Right. Like in Halo Top, ice cream, barely marketed. They really wanted to go word of mouth. They were at the very, very like tail end. Like maybe we got to cash out of this. It's just not going to happen. And then an article, then some celebrities started mentioning it. Then by word of mouth, it all of a sudden started growing. Now, coming back to like as far as like the comedic element, a great company to look at is Duke Cannon Soap Company. They add a comedic element to their emails. Whoever's writing, I think it's an in-house team who writes their emails, but they're all from like Boston It's a lot of ex-Boston Consulting guys, it looks like.
Wow. And they're just comedy.
But they have their email copy is insanely good. So the thing kind of coming back to it, as far as the sales, like the guru stuff, it's super hyper, but there's obviously something that works about it. And the kind of the skeleton pieces that work can kind of just be some of the steps. It doesn't probably have to be like the gurus, like emailing you 458 times in 3 days is just so dumb. Like they're doing that because either someone told them that or they're very desperate. Like, you know what? I sent to unopens 450 times and it worked. Like, you have an issue if you're doing that. But so what you can do is kind of take out the skeleton of the structure. So like, here's a simple email. Like Duke Cannon writes great emails with a lot of humor. They're not, it's tough to inject humor, but they just go like direct. And whoever they have as a humor writer is obviously knows what it's definitely a pro.
Yeah, it's like men's jokes, kind of.
Right, but it's nothing like, they're not going like, we're gonna top Jerry Seinfeld. It's like, here's kind of like a quirky email, very simply written, and obviously some of them are huge hits. Some of them probably don't do as well, but because they go so direct, so that you can take these steps, right? Like, here's an email, we're not going to hammer you with it, but it's very simple. It's got our personality with it. Finding that voice and personality takes time.
Yeah.
But the more direct you are with it, without trying to like, I'm going to use all the sales psychology there is.
Yeah.
The more like, I'm going to force people through open loops, like, just wait till the next email when I tell you about X. Like, why are you dragging me through this crap? You can be direct, and you can kind of just find the here's an email. Maybe it goes to a landing page that tells you what we are about. And maybe you do hit them with a product, that you're selling them, but maybe not. That may not be the business model. You may have a few products. So like, hey, if you're interested in X, Y, Z, here's our particular pages. So it's kind of taking the skeleton structure of what gurus are doing, but then, basically removing all the methamphetamine.
Yeah. I mean, if the product is good, the systems are tight.
Right.
Even
Mark Manson kind of has sales pages on his site. He's not, but it's very subtle. I mean, he has a huge advantage because he's now really well known. But before he had that advantage, like, he just gave a quick about, like, and it's kind of like, if you're into me or not into me, great.
Yeah.
Check me out. So I don't know if that makes sense, but there is a way to kind of like find that skeleton structure a little bit.
Yeah. And then do you have like I'm surprised at how structured a lot of stuff is, even in Hollywood, because even writing for TV and stuff, that has a structure. And then I found that a lot of salespeople are talking about the same structure in their stuff too, which is basically they're talking about a character growth in something. Like, you have to make someone like a hero of something, and then create an obstacle for them, and then you're their mentor to like teach them. And that's how like Donald Miller teaches that. And it's like, that's like a movie basically. Like, this is like a movie branding or whatever.
Yeah, and I think there's certainly a lot of strength to that, but it's very difficult to do. Like, you probably already have natural, because you're a comedic writer, so you have that natural structure. Like, the guys who are really good at that story stuff, like, they generally have a bit of a background for it. Like, I recommend first-time copywriters. I'm like, look, you're probably not going to turn into like the writing staff of the show The Office right away.
Right.
I'm going to story sell.
That's
so
great.
they try to lace in too much, like, here is the hero's journey. Like, do you know how hard it is to write that? Like, pro writers are failing all the time in the box office. Right?
Nice. Yeah.
You're not just gonna suddenly crank. But so I always recommend, like, one, like, if you're reading good books, like, you'll have an idea of story, or even shows like The Office. Like, it always has granted, they broke a lot they innovated kind of a different structure, but like Seinfeld had its structure, had its setup, had its beat.
Yeah.
But if you're trying, if you think, the way I think is, like, if you have an outline and just go really direct, instead of like, I'm going to try to story sell here, just be like, here's just a quick story versus like, and here's where I faced the odd, and I was the low man on the totem pole. Like, that may not have been happened.
Right. Yeah. So then, if you have a formula, what would it be then? What's the structure that you follow? Does Ogilvy have that directly? Like, where it's like, because we have one that's like, you do a hook, and then you do like a story, and then a call to action, and you're done. But the story has.
That's like a nice. Yeah, I like nice, simple things like that. So to me, it depends. Obviously, it all depends. The structure that I've kind of that I really like is Claude Hopkins has an ad, the Palm Olive ad, 5 mistakes fixed for you. And I think that follows like kind of a structure that can be modernized. So
5 mistakes that
can be fixed for you. Yeah, Palm Olive. I think there's a site called Swipe.co. And you see Claude Hopkins, and you see the 5 mistakes ads. So a general structure, and obviously it's all dependent, would be, I like to like a quick introduction. Here's who I am. Like, very fast, and then the big idea, and you could say it's a unique selling proposition, but the big idea is like, here's how that I want that instantly. Like, what is it that I do, why do you need me, and here's what you're about to read or hear or see. And then somehow get in the expertise. So it doesn't necessarily need to be story, but look, I've been at this for XYZ years, blah, 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 blah. here are the problems here are the 3 problems that I see. Here's how I handle the problems. If this sounds good to you, we want to work with good people. Yeah.